Welcome to the Slow Home Studio. Today we're going to be continuing along our discussion of windows, and we're going to be looking at interior window mullions.
Yeah, and this is a very interesting design topic because window mullions are critical to how you perceive the room in terms of the space and the ordinances and all the lines. And the big issues is you have to deal with the size of glass, because we all want big picture windows to be able to look out to, but they're not often realistic in terms of logistics and cost. And the second issue has to do with ventilation. You need to have some operable portions of the window, and those are limited in size.
That's right. As a rule of thumb, we like to think about 8 feet as being the maximum size of any one pane of glass. Once you get beyond that, it is certainly possible to do that, but then you start moving into much more expensive supply side pieces, and it's just often not worth it, particularly because a well-designed window with interior mullions can be just as beautiful, just as modern, and let in just as much light as one single pane of glass. And let's have a look at an example.
Yeah, this is from one of our projects that we did, and we had to deal with that exact issue, right? Because we had this big picture window that we wanted in our living room, and the view, it was beautiful, and we had to figure out a way of dividing this up because we really couldn't do it as one piece of glass. And so the first decision was we needed a clear story window on this side, and so we knew that that was going to set up an ordnance line that went like that. So that made a natural location for the mullion. And also, when you're sitting on the couch or standing up, that mullion is not going to be in your field of view.
No, and if you haven't seen the way in which one wants to line up the top of the windows, then check out last video segment, which you can see that the very first decision was actually to make sure that those lined up. Then we needed to think about the verticals, and the verticals are done in order to allow for an operable window. This is actually an operable window on this side, and there are dimensions for the mechanisms to effectively work. And so we have that, and that's one of the reasons also why we didn't go all the way up, because that would have been too large a piece to operate.
It basically becomes a door, right? And so then the cost goes up and the size of all the hardware goes up. Interesting then, you have to, once you've made that decision, this is the other side of the room, you have to follow those ordinances around the corner and be consistent. We had sliding doors, so we had to match that head height, and then we actually added a mullion into the study window as well.
So remember, interior window mullions are not something to be afraid of. You just need to think about them before you put in your window order.
See you next time.